Hi guys, so part 3 of making the Land Rover Defender top. Yeah, I have a couple of things that I need to do on the rear panels and the two side panels before I can solder the top piece to the two sides and then attach the rear and then make the front. The first thing I need to do is to make up the straps that are going to keep the window up when it's rolled up. So in this block I have the buckles for the straps. I'll just show you the buckles. These are the little buckles that I'm going to use, and all you do with these is got a little button here. Press the button and the buckle comes apart. So you've got two parts. This part here gets sewn to the cover itself. This part here has a webbing that attaches through here. So this part here will get sewn just to the top of the cover like that. So we'll have one here and obviously one there as well. This part here, I need to cut a piece of webbing. The webbing just gets attached, just like a standard buckle. A piece of webbing gets sewn to behind here on the reverse side, and then when you roll the window up, this will be like that and clip into there. So I need to work out how long I need to cut the webbing. I'll cut it over length for now and I can always trim it down later. So that's roughly the length I'm going to cut them at. I'd rather over cut them. I can always trim them down later. So I need 6 of these. That's 6 of those. 6. To that. So I'll sew these two on now. So I'll trim off what I don't need. I don't need all of that. So I'll get on and do the other two windows. So these are flaps that go around the top hoops. So they've got Velcro on them and a centre line there. So I need to mark up the top piece where these are going to fit, sew them on. Also, I'm going to put webbings onto this piece as well. I need to find a way of tensioning the whole thing. And I don't think that just having these pockets will do the job. And that is where that's going to go. So we're looking okay. So what I have to do next is to make the part that goes over the cab, fit that to this part, and then fit the sides to that. So it'll be top two sides, and then the back. So now I need to make this bit. So I've just made these up to go into there. So they'll be permanent. They'll be actually glued onto the metalwork, and they'll stay there forever. Now, if you notice, I've got a bit of rope in here. There's a channel here, so I'll make up a bolt rope that goes in there, fits nice and snug. So I'll use this rope. I'll also pad it with some closed cell foam. I'll bring the closed cell foam underneath this lip here so it comes forward, so that creates a little bit of a weather tight seal. When this front part here this metal front part here is clamped down properly, then that'll, the foam inside will fill any gap that is between the top of the window frame and this metal part here. Hopefully that will stop any rain getting in. There's also a rubber seal that slots into here, and that creates another weather tight seal. I've just marked up how long I need to make the bolt rope. So you can see what I've got there. I've got the rope in the middle, the foam around the outside, and then it's got the fabric over that. So I'm now going to stitch down here. I'm going to use a zip foot for that. I'm going to stitch as close to this edge as I can. So that is now stitched on. So I'm going to stick this on the vehicle, mark it for length and for width. That's now marked up. I'm going to try and work out which way I want to sew everything together, whether I want to sew this to the front piece first and then put the little darts in the corner, or do the darts first and then sew this to the front, which I think is the way I'm going to do it. But I need to trim this down now, so I'll trim all the bits of this off, get it ready to be sewn to that, put the little seams in the corners, sew this to it, offer it up to the vehicle, see if it all works, sew the hem onto this, attach the front part to the main top piece, offer that back up to the vehicle again, and once I know that's alright, I'll sew the pocket that goes over the first hoop onto the two pieces that are sewn together, top stitch that top seam, offer it back up to the vehicle again. Once I've done that, I will sew the two side pieces to the main part, if everything is okay. So what I'm going to sew this edge down here, then I'll trim the excess off on the foam, and that will be all ready. So I'll actually do these folds first. So I'll sew the fold over that runs here. So I'm now going to try this on the vehicle again. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for this one. So I think we're not going to be too bad. I still need to do the seams here. I think it fits all right. I will now remove that, finish off the sewing on the front corners, attach it to the rear part, and then give it another try. So I'm going to find centre, which is there, and again, double-sided tape these together before I sew them. So I'm not going to do any top stitching. Once I've sewn them together, I will try them on the vehicle. I'll leave any top stitching until I've tried it. And don't forget, I also need to put the flap that goes in here, that goes around the first hoop. I'm going to pin this to the bench, just there, just there. That's my centre there. Right, that's just perfect. I'm going to pin it at centre. Now, if you remember back in part one where I did the cutting out and I extended the main piece, this piece, I extended it by 3/4 of an inch. I marked the seam allowance, but I thought I'll add an extra 3/4 of an inch just to be on the safe side. Now, I didn't need all that 3/4 of an inch, but I did need some. Now this part here has got a curve in it. It's not a straight line. So if I show you, you'll see that it's curved here and here. I think we're going to be absolutely spot on. So I will tape down one way and then I'll work the opposite way. So at this point here we're pretty straight, but now from here we start to curve on this piece. I'm going to spot on there. I'm going to put a pin in there for now just to hold that in place. And now I'm going to start working this way. So obviously the two pieces, the rear and the front part over the cab, it's now machined together, so we've got one full top now. I'm quite happy with how it fits. The seam that runs along here is absolutely spot on, exactly in the right place, so happy with that. There's a few places that I need to mark up. So here where this rear side section will attach to this piece, this I need to mark up here. So that is where that is going to start. Now if you notice, I've done the hem on this part here, so I'm going to have to unpick the hem. I'll unpick part of this seam as well. I'll put a stitch line across here and I'll fold the bit that I've hemmed back, add the seam allowance, which will be the same distance as this fabric here, and then that's where I'm going to sew the rear section to. Obviously same on the other side. So I also need to mark up this rear section. If you can see, I've got quite a lot of fabric. Now that I've pulled the whole cover and tensioned it, so it's got quite a bit of tension on it. If you remember, I said in the beginning that this got a little bit of stretch in it. Well, this is why you don't finish things off before you keep trying them and trying them and trying them. So I need to mark where I'm going to put the seam. That's where I want that to come to, where I want that to come to. I'm just marking in a few places. So I'm only marking half of it. I'll just transfer the measurements to the other side. So I think that's everything that I need to mark on there. I'm going to get the side section now and offer that up to here, just to see how it looks. So that's how that's going to look. Now I won't trim this down until I've actually attached it to here. I'll trim both the top and the rear part of this at the same time. So the next time I try it on, I should have this piece attached. So yeah, we're looking all right. I'll sew this seam back first and then I can trim this here. So I'll do the same with the other corner. So this is going to be quite a lot to get underneath here. Yeah, a lot to contend with when sewing something this big. Check the pocket. Spot on. Now I can sew the two side pieces on. They're obviously getting much heavier now. I'm just trying to make it as small as possible. So that is now ready for trying on again. Now that I've got windows sewn into the cover, I've got to be very gentle with it now. I need to make sure the windows don't drag across the vehicle when I'm pitching it. So I need to fold it in a specific way so that doesn't happen. So all I've done is I've rolled it up and I'm just going to put a clamp in it. Make sure the clamp's not on the glass. So we're not looking too bad there. So it's just a case of now top stitching this seam here, finishing off these bits here that I unpicked. If you remember, I need to continue that line across, sew the end of the pocket this way as well. I'm going to mark the back end completely now. I will trim that off, and then once I've done the top stitching on here, I will attach the back piece, or will I? What I may actually do is offer the rear section up to this again. I may trim a little bit off that seam as well, but I may not. We'll see how it goes. So I'll get a pencil, mark this seam here. So I'm going to now remove it and do the top stitching, sew the back end on, try it on again, and who knows? So this is going to be very tricky to do. I have already taped the seam down, used seaming tape, and because of the window and I don't want to fold it, I need to get it underneath the machine. I'm going to have to put it under my armpit and kind of sew sideways, which is what I used to do about 15 years ago. I used to repair windsurf sails and you couldn't fold them either, they had to be rolled to sew them to do the repair. And they were a bit of a pain, but you kind of get used to sewing sideways. That's that side done. do the same with the side, so take the seam, sew it, and then, do I want to try it on again? No, I don't. I will trim the back seam off, offer the rear piece to the vehicle again, just to see where my seams are lining up on that, and then sew two pieces together. Try it on again, top stitch it, finish the bottoms, and do all the fitting. So yeah, not a lot to do. So hopefully this is the last time that I have to take this off. So I've now sewn the rear part on, so all the pieces are now sewn together. I'm gonna put it back on. If everything is all right, it's only the rear seam that I really need to worry about because I've checked everything else up to that point. So once I know the rear seam is all right, I'll take it off again. I'll top stitch that seam, then I'll check it over, make sure I don't have to do anything else. Then I'll fit it back on, and then, oh no, I will have to remove it one more time. Yeah, because I've got to do the hems yet. So what I'll do is when I try it on this time, I will, if everything's all right, I will double check the hems, make sure they're good, hem it all, and then fit it for the final time. Wahee! So everything fits really nicely. I couldn't be happier with that. We're looking pretty good. Considering it's got no fixings in along the bottom, it's just the two webbing straps and the two hoops and the front bow that's holding it in place. And that's not even secured properly. It needs another 4 fixings in it yet. Considering that, I'm really happy. Once I've put fixings in the bottom, we'll get rid of any wrinkles that are in the top here. This here, where the gutter is really good. That lines up really nicely. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to not hem it, but what I'll do here is I'll turn this hem over, I'll tape that, and then I'll check it. I think we should be fine with where it's hemmed. So that is absolutely perfect. The hem is exactly where I want it to be. I'll check the other side, because obviously I'm pulling this way, so I need to make sure the other side's not been pulled too far this way. So I'm now going to remove this for the last time, I hope. Do all the hemming, put the flaps on, top stitch the rear, and then I'll be refitting it. So that's now on for the final time. What I need to do next is to put a piece of masking tape all the way along the bottom edge here, so I can actually mark on where I'm going to put the fixings. So I need to mark in my first fixing, so the first one will be here and the second one will be on the opposite corner. So I'm going to work corner to corner and then work inwards. Well, that's the end of the flap there. That's the end of the flap there. That is the end of the flap there. And that is the end of the flap there. And that's the end of the flap there. So I have my 3 markings here for the fixing, so end one, centre, that goes onto this flap here. So the fixings I'm going to use are poppers, Prestons, snap fixings, whatever you want to call them. These are all marine grade. So put the first hole in. That's my first one on. So that's the first piece with its fixings in. So I've done the fixings on this part here, and then there's just two on this bit here. I've done those two, so 3 there, 2 here. I'm going to go on to the other side now and put the same fixings in on the opposite side of the vehicle. Once I've done that, I will do the back ones, and then once I've done the back ones, I'll do all the windows. So you can see there's no wrinkles at all in this bit here, and the same here, no wrinkles, and it's relatively tight. It's not over tight, but it's relatively tight and it can be removed quite easily. Once I put the fixings in the bit where the window is, will look the same. Will look nice and wrinkle free all the way along. I will give it a steam once I've fitted it properly, just to get rid of any creases from the manufacturing process, really, more than anything else, because it is nice and snug, which is what you want from a cover. You don't want a baggy flapping cover, because as soon as you start driving along, then it'll flap and flap and flap, and it'll be quite annoying. So the tighter you can get it, the better. The only fixings that would be visible would be the fixings that go over the top of this here. So we'll have one visible fixing, another visible fixing, and then the same on the opposite side, and then the 2 on the back will be the same. Just to cover that flap up there, like that. And that's how that will look. So I've now done this side, apart from the window, the other side apart from the window, this back corner on this side here. So now I'm going to do the window part here. So I'll do this window part, I'll move on to the back corner on the opposite side, and then do that window, and then do the rear window last. So that's one side completely done. I'm not sure whether it needs a fix in here and here. I can always put one on at a later date if it is an issue, which I don't think it will be. Possibly this one might start to flap a little bit in the wind. That one won't, unless you're going backwards really fast. So I may end up putting a fix in just in there, but it will be burgundy. So that looks really nice. We've got no wrinkles in the cover. The glass is wrinkle free as well, but I will give it a little bit of a steam once I've finished it all. Then what I need to do is just to check for any threads that have not been cut off. I know there will be some, I have seen some, so I'll go around the whole inside and outside, checking all the threads, cut them all off, and that will be done. So just onto the other side now, and the rear window. So there we go. That's now finished. All I've got left now to do on this is the 2 front seats. So if you want to see that video, please subscribe. I hope to see you again. Thanks for watching. Bye.